Hi guys. Um, so we are going to start a new book today. It's called The Kite from Days with Frog and Toad. Oh, sorry, we're on page 87. I should have told you that before. So today's story is The Kite, and it's from Days with Frog and Toad. So this is a small story that came from a larger book. So this story is called The Kite, and the larger book was called Days with Frog and Toad. And Frog and Toad, these characters may look familiar to you because they are a part of a series. So the series is Frog and Toad. Basically, remember we talked about series earlier this year. A good example is Junie B. Jones, right? There's a lot of books about Junie B. Jones. Every book is a little bit different though, right? Same thing with like Biscuit books. You guys really like them. So each book is about that cute little puppy named Biscuit, but each story is a little bit different. So Frog and Toad are their own series. And so they are by Arnold Lobel. And I'm gonna read a little bit about him, then we'll go on a picture walk, and then we'll read the story. So over here it says, Arnold Lobel. Arnold Lobel drew many animals before he came up with the Frog and Toad characters. During vacations with his family in Vermont, Mr. Lobel watched his children play with frogs and toads. Soon, the animals were starring in his books. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead on a picture walk. So, take a look at that first page where it says The Kite. And you can see Frog and Toad there. And what do they have? They have a kite with them, right? And do you guys notice the grass, how the grass is bent over? That means that it's probably pretty windy out, right? So now turn the page. Kind of looks like those birds are laughing at Toad, right? I wonder what that's about. And on the next page, I see Toad pointing to the kite. Let's turn the page. Oh, it looks like Toad is running with the kite in his hand. And the kite's on the ground, and looks like the birds are maybe laughing at him again. Look on the next page. Now it looks like Toad is sweating, right? He has water coming off of his head. And he's jumping with that kite. Oh, and those birds are laughing again. All right, turn the page. It looks like he finally got the kite up in the sky. And now it looks like Frog and Toad are flying their kite. All right, so let's go ahead and we will read this story. Follow along while I read. Frog and Toad went out to fly a kite. They went to a large meadow where the wind was strong. Our kite will fly up and up, said Frog. It will fly all the way up to the top of the sky. Toad, said Frog, I will hold the ball of string. You will hold the kite and run. Seems like Frog got the easy job, right? Toad ran across the meadow. He ran as fast as his short legs could carry him. The kite went up in the air. It fell to the ground with a bump. Toad heard laughter. 3 robins were sitting in a bush. That kite will not fly, said the robins. You may as well give up. Toad ran back to Frog. Frog, said Toad, this kite will not fly. I give up. We must make a second try, said Frog. Wave the kite over your head. Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran back across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. The kite went up in the air and then fell down with a thud. What a joke, said the robins. That kite will never get off the ground. Toad ran back to Frog. This kite is a joke, he said. It will never get off the ground. We have to make a third try, said Frog. Wave the kite over your head and jump up and down. Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran across the meadow again. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. The kite went up in the air and crashed down into the grass. That kite is junk, said the robins. Throw it away and go home. Toad ran back to Frog. This kite is junk, he said. I think we should throw it away and go home. Toad, said Frog, we need one more try. Wave the kite over your head, jump up and down, and shout, up, kite, up! Toad ran across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. He shouted, up, kite, up! The kite flew into the air. It climbed higher and higher. We did it, cried Toad. Yes, said Frog. If a running try did not work, and a running and waving try did not work, and a running, waving, and jumping try did not work, I knew that a running, waving, jumping, and shouting try just had to work. The robins flew out of the bush, but they could not fly as high as the kite. Frog and Toad sat and watched their kite. It seemed to be flying way up at the top of the sky. And I'm sure you guys can tell why I like this story. It's about not giving up, right? I always tell you guys, don't give up, keep trying. And even though those robins were, being nasty to Toad, Frog kept encouraging him to keep trying, and Toad finally was able to fly his kite. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. We will read it again on Wednesday. I'll